About 2:17 a.m., my phone started ringing. I looked at the screen, and for a moment I thought I was seeing things, because the person calling me was me. My name, my number, my phone. I couldn't sleep that night. Sometimes the city becomes strangely quiet at night. The kind of quiet where things you normally wouldn't notice suddenly stand out. And that night, it was exactly that kind of night. The strange thing was, I was used to living alone. I had lived by myself for years. But that night the apartment felt different. It didn't feel like it belonged to me anymore. The low hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, the faint creaking inside the walls, sounds I normally wouldn't even notice suddenly felt too close. And when you're alone long enough, you realize something. Silence is never really silent. Then suddenly, my phone started vibrating. I sat halfway up in bed. The screen glowed in the dark room like a small light. Incoming call. Caller ID, me. I stared at the screen, part confusion, part fear. My brain was trying to make sense of it. The phone was already in my hand, and I didn't have another one. But my name was clearly there on the screen, as if someone was calling me from my own number. The call kept ringing. That small, vibrating sound felt much louder in the quiet room than it should have. After a few seconds, I declined the call. The screen went dark, but the uneasy feeling stayed. I tried to convince myself, probably just a glitch. I placed the phone next to my bed, closed my eyes, and just as I was about to fall asleep, the phone rang again. Same number, same name. When I picked up the phone this time, something felt strange. The tips of my fingers were cold. The metal body of the phone felt like ice. My palm was sweating, but the phone itself felt unusually cold. The call kept ringing. The green answer button glowed in the dark. That little icon felt like it was staring back at me. How could something made of glass and light feel so threatening? I won't lie. At that moment, I was scared. I glanced at my bedroom door. It was closed. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone might be standing behind it. I knew it was irrational, but fear has a way of silencing logic. I took a deep breath and answered the call. I slowly raised the phone to my ear. Hello? Silence. Then I heard something, but it wasn't a voice. It was just breathing. Deep, slow, steady. Imagine someone on the other end of the line, standing there, breathing, like they were about to speak, but never did. Who is this? I asked. Silence. Then the breathing again. I pulled the phone slightly away from my ear. My heart was beating so loudly, it felt like the only sound in the room. After a while, the call ended. The screen went dark again, but the feeling of unease didn't go away. About 10 minutes passed. It was 2:29 a.m. My phone rang again. Same number. But then I noticed something. In the silence of the room, there was another sound. A faint breathing noise. And it wasn't coming from the phone. It sounded like it was somewhere in the room. I answered again. Held the phone to my ear. Who are you? I asked. The breathing continued. And then I realized something. The breathing in the phone and the breathing in the room were happening at the same time. Same rhythm, same speed, perfectly synchronized. My chest tightened. Slowly, I lowered the phone. The room was dark. Only the silhouette of the wardrobe near the window was visible. I looked back at the phone screen. The call was still active. And then I noticed something else. The microphone icon was on, as if the person on the other end was listening to the room I was in. Slowly, I looked around. The door was closed, The window was closed. No one was in the room, but the breathing continued. For a moment, I started questioning my own mind. Then the screen changed. The caller name was no longer me. My name, and under it, a small notification. Location sharing active. My blood went cold. I ended the call immediately. The room fell silent again. But in that moment, I understood something. No one was calling me from my phone. Someone was calling me from where I was. The next morning, I checked the phone. I opened the call history 217, 219, 229. Next to each call, there was a small icon. Camera used. I opened my gallery. There was a new video. Timestamp 2:16 a.m. I pressed play. The image was dark at first. Then it slowly adjusted. The video had been recorded inside my bedroom. The camera was pointing directly at my bed, and in the center of the frame, I was sleeping. The video lasted about 10 seconds, but during those 10 seconds, the person holding the camera never appeared. In the final moment, the camera shifted slightly, and a shadow appeared on the wall. The shadow looked exactly like mine. But at that moment, I was still asleep in the bed. After that night, I changed my phone. I changed my number. I changed everything. But sometimes, late at night, my phone vibrates. When I check the screen, there's no call, but I still hear the same sound in my ear. Deep, slow, breathing. And sometimes I wonder, that night, was the thing calling me? Me? Or was there someone else living my life for me?